Welcome in, everybody. It is Kelcey Coyne live from the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, just outside of Canton. I'm here with a lot of my great friends from the Belly Up Sports Network. We are here for, once again, another year of the Fantasy Football Expo. It's been a fantastic time so far. We still got another day to go, but it's been a lot of fun. But first, before we get to all that, we do want to talk a little bit about where we came from, how we got here, how each of us got into fantasy football. What's our journey? That's kind of our goal, right? Before we get into that, special thing about being in Canton, a lot of fun things around here. Like, the hostess with the mostest finally gets to wear his hat. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that's right. I got my hostess hat. If you guys have seen the TikTok already, you already know the joke. But look, this is a great time. I just think I got a face palm from everybody. I'm going to go ahead and welcome him in. I don't think we need to sit there and stare at my face for much longer. But joining me here is Matt Ordazzo from the corner booth, Jared Klim in the middle there from the corner booth, Vince Stover from, well, you know him from Fantasy Football Live and every other fantasy football program we have. And I keep wanting to call it Show the Stove Report, but we just need to talk about you. Sports Stove Football Show. There you go. But no, look, Vince, I always mess with you about it. But we love your show nonetheless. And then you guys know the guy standing there by himself, my co-host extraordinaire. He likes to call himself the host, so we'll let him have that some days. Not today, though. Guys, it's been a fun weekend. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Great. Doing great.
Feeling like a host.
Feeling like the hostess with the mostest?
No, you got that one locked up.
I was going to say, I got the hat on. Jared, what'd you call me? What did you say I look like when I have this flipped up?
Disney Channel villain.
All right. Hang on. Let me get this flipped up. Because you know what? We're talking origin stories, so no better time to have an origin story than we talk villains. Right? I don't have a good origin story. That's why I'm hosting. So I want to go down the line here. Vince, I'll leave you left last because you are the fantasy football guy. But Matt, as the first-year attendee, the other first-year attendee, what's your fantasy football origins?
So I didn't really know about fantasy football until I was probably middle school. And I probably got into fantasy football once I got right into my freshman year of high school. That was when Brandon Pettigrew was still in the league. So that's how long ago it was. But I just kind of found my way into a family league. Won it my first year with Mike Vick at the quarterback. And never looked back since. So first year as a rookie, championship, Adrian Peterson coming back from that torn ACL. And I've been hooked ever since.
Nah, dude, that's actually really cool. It's been a fun rider for you, right? I know you keeping Jared in line with fantasy football.
It's not easy, especially when we co-host teams.
Didn't
it's
I
very
win
much.
last year? I finished higher than you in the standings for our show.
Yeah, you finished higher in the standings for the show, but I'm talking about when we have to co-host a team, and it's like, all right, I'm going to pick this guy up. No, let's get this guy. I don't know. This guy looks pretty good. Nope, we're doing this. All right, and then that guy puts up 2 points, and the other guy's like 8, 9. I'm like, okay. Then he's gone.
I want to go back to Matt's first team. Did you have anybody that didn't have legal issues on your roster?
I
Vic
drafted
Peterson.
straight up convicts, and that is what got me to the promised
Call it
land.
the mean machine.
There you go.
Well, I guess the mean machine needs to take a step to the left a little bit here. Jared, the mean machine himself.
Nice.
You may or may not be an Eagles fan, right? I'm just going to start there.
Oh, I don't know. The hat and the shirt kind of gave it away. My fantasy origins are a little weird. I've been watching football since I was a little kid, but I never really played in the league. My freshman year of high school, ironically, just like Matt, a bunch of friends asked me to join their league. I ended up winning it. Or you talk about villains, right? My friend was so mad that I smoked his brother by 100 points in the championship. He refused to give me the trophy for the year. So, yeah, that's how my fantasy career started. I blew out everyone. I had a lucky draft. They moved the draft up on me while I was still traveling for vacation. I ended up with none of the players that like made like 3 or 4 trades, and I think I was one of them. So,
Yeah. So sounds like you have a real villain origin story. Is the point here? Is this why you're so angry?
no, there's a lot of reasons for that. None of them related to fantasy football.
Okay.
I actually look forward to fantasy. I actually look forward to fantasy. It kind of just a fun little time waster. So,
Don't worry, we'll teach you how to talk into a mic eventually. Vince,
Right.
still holding you for last. I just had to step away from Jared. All right, DJ, tell us when did you get started with fantasy football?
Mine was boring. I didn't have any friends to play with, so I played on those free NFL.com leagues, and I'd have like 14 of them going and would just beat a bunch of strangers. Then I got friends, and they wanted to play with me, and I started winning those and got yelled at for it.
Okay. Wow.
Including
That's
from you yelling at me.
I'm here for
Including
you.
when we used to work at Champs. I'd win in that league and get yelled at, too.
yeah, touche. All right,
You
Vince.
started my origin story by yelling at me and making me work a long shift.
Look, I just because I look like a villain doesn't mean I am the villain, guys.
That's what I'm hearing. There's a lot
10-hour
of
shift the
villains.
day after the championship.
I even had to put myself back on the screen so you guys can see that I'm not really the villain. I'm by myself here.
You know that Shane Gillis skit when he talks about how guys in the past, they would talk and they'd be like, yeah, they would just talk like that. You look like somebody from the 30s or the 40s. I would be like, yeah, see? Yeah. With the hat folded up like that. That's how you
Mine is
look.
like the Raleigh fingers, little handlebar mustache. So
No, see, I can't grow the mustache though, so that's the thing. I'll
I
never
just
get there.
singed mine off, so at this point you can have some of mine.
Yeah, we can't get a close up on this, but it's probably for the best for the viewers right now. But all right, so Vince, we kept you waiting long enough. Right, it's time. What is your origin story? You're probably the longest tenured fantasy football player in this room.
I've been playing fantasy for longer than Matt's been alive.
That is the yes.
So I think at least 30 years I've been playing
29.
fantasy.
Was that stone tablet and chisel or what?
You're right. Yeah, you had to sit out there and chisel all your draft picks out. It was all paper and pen back then,
You had to make
using the
trades with blood.
newspaper.
You had to carve it in blood and shit
Carve it
on
in
when you
blood.
made trades.
No, I wasn't in a villain league. That was the other thing. But no, I was 11 years old when I started. Me and Dad, man, everything is revolved around sports for us. And he was in a league that needed somebody else, and let me, surprisingly let me in at 11. So it was the coolest experience. All sitting in a room drafting together. First time that I ever made fun of someone for mispronouncing a football player's name. And I was 11. That didn't go over very well, but. I've been playing a long time, and now I'm thinking every league I'm in, I'm the manager right now. And I hate playing in other people's leagues. So
That includes our Belly Up Fantasy League.
yes,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
co-manager. I do let some other people help out with it, but
No, he doesn't. Don't let him lie to you. He doesn't. No, it's funny. So do you remember the player that was mispronounced?
Rick Meyer
How do you
Okay.
mispronounce
was
that?
Rick Murr, is what they said.
I
Rick
was hoping
Murray?
it'd be like TJ Hushmanzada or something like that.
Yeah.
I was hoping this
No.
to be one of them. Rick
TJ,
Meyer,
who's your
okay.
mama?
There's a lot of nicknames back then.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of nicknames back then were used, but yeah, Rick Murr is what he said, and I'm like,
I
it's
get it
Rick
now.
Meyer. Everyone knows that, and
It sounds like he's just got a huge hammer of dip in his mouth. Rick Burr.
And I thought I was the villain here. I think Vince, that's 11 years old, man.
very quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was hoping you were gonna say it was like Tuiasosopo or something.
No,
like
it was an
something
easy
fun.
one.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a callback for all those out there. As you look at this, obviously we all have different years of experience with fantasy football. It's different experiences, different levels. I want to talk about our worst ever draft experience, and I can tell you mine, and it came last year, and probably a lot of people experienced this. Chris McCaffrey. I talked it up all lead up. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. If you're in the top 3, don't take him. It's going to be an injury. I take him anyways. Dragged it on. That was a terrible decision. That's by far my worst one, and it just made it worse by what I did in the rest of the season. So you've heard my misery of why I'm looking like a villain right now. What are your guys' worst? DJ, I'm going to flip it back to you.
We're going to go with the last year. We're going to keep it recently. Very good running back core. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor. Really nice there. Receivers. Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. Not so strong. A lot of very rough weeks, including one where they both combined for negative 0.5 points and 2 concussions and ended up losing the week by 2 points. So where to say last year with the injury bug, that was brutal.
Yeah. Last year's injuries were pretty bad all around. Vince, who was your worst all time?
We're talking about draft, right?
Draft, yeah. Who you actually drafted?
I had the number 1 overall pick in LT's heyday, right? His prime, LaDainian Tomlinson's prime. And before the draft started, I was just kind of clicking through names, looking at guys, whatever. Time went down, time to draft. I hit draft player. I got Sean Alexander instead of LaDainian Tomlinson because I was clicking through names. And I was sitting there going, this is ridiculous. Like, I had it all set up. Everything was ready to go. And I ended up with Sean Alexander. And that was the fall off of Sean Alexander. It wasn't in his prime. So it was that was tough.
Yeah, that's a rough one, especially LT to Sean Alexander. And that time frame you're talking about is the worst kind of like, oh no, I made a mistake.
Sean Alexander cover of Madden that year. Sean Alexander.
It was after he was cover of Madden. So yeah, it was post that. Yeah.
So what? That's 2007, right?
Because Alexander was for maybe 2 years, I think, the number 1 overall guy, and then he had that fall off, and LT was the guy at that point, and it was so obvious that Tomlinson was the guy at number 1. There was no question about it. Yeah, and to hit the draft and not realize that I was sitting on Sean Alexander, nightmare situation.
I almost feel like I should have kept you at last for that one because I don't know if any of these are going to get any worse. That's pretty bad. Jared, what do you got? That was your worst draft.
So I had been playing for years since like 09, right? 2017 rolls around. My first year out of college, I'm in a buddy of mine asked me to be in his friend league from our hometown. Most of these guys didn't even like me or I didn't know them, but somehow I got the first overall pick. I never had the first overall pick before. So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I don't know if y'all remember back to 2016 and 2015, David Johnson was a machine for yardage. I had the first overall pick. I selected David Johnson. I can remember the stat line in my head. I'm sitting in my manager's office next morning while I was at the New York Lights head office. It was, I think, 3 carries for 9 yards, I think a half a fantasy point, and a torn ACL. I sat there just like, my season is gone. There's nothing I can do. So I got the first overall pick this year in my close-knit friend league, and I'm trying to see if I can trade out because I do not want this at all.
Yeah. First, I feel like sometimes with the first pick, you almost get yourself pressured into a lot of bad decisions. Like, all of my bad decisions have come when I've had a top 2 pick, and there's this is an obvious guy to go number 1 or 2. Matt, what has been yours? Has it been something along those lines? Has it been something more unique?
I mean, I've had bad drafts in the sense of like first round picks. Like I had the number 1 overall pick one year. It was the year after Saquon's debut in the NFL, and I drafted him over Christian McCaffrey, and he immediately was out for the year, I believe, not long after that. But many draft blunders like that. But last year, I had Jordan Love and Tua as my quarterbacks. I had DJ Moore, Breece Hall, and Greg Zuerlein, and I started the year off 0-5. Because I lost both of my quarterbacks within the first 2 weeks of the season. If we all remember, Jordan Love went down week 1 and he was hurt for a little bit. Tua got banged up. So I had no quarterbacks for the first couple of weeks. Breece Hall was up and down. 1 week he'd give you 3 points. 1 week he'd give you 9 or 10 or 11 points. DJ Moore had a rough start to the season with Caleb Williams stat-wise. And Greg Zuerlein could not kick the field goal for his life. So I started that year off quickly 0-5. And then I turned it around after I dropped the kicker for the Commanders kicker, which I then made the playoffs, lost first round. But that was probably my worst overall draft because I was scoring the least amount of points every week for the first 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think I was in the same league with you with that, and I ended up second to last because I kept on to CMC for a longer time.
Was that your league that you and DJ host?
I think so. Yeah, where DJ and I ended up.
That was last year, right? I won that. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean this particular draft was in a different league, but
Okay, I was like it sounded very eerily similar to our old league.
I'm in like 7 or 8 leagues, so it's very much I probably have the same player.
Damn, I thought I had it back off 6 this year.
Honestly, I think DJ, you and I have had the experience with David Johnson too. That was one of the first years we ever played fantasy football together. Was the David Johnson fall off? I guess is the best way to put it.
I didn't take him, so I was good with it.
Yeah.
I never got that one.
I don't think anybody's is worse than O.J. Simpson's. That one year he posted on Twitter that he drafted Andrew Luck and Lamar Miller, and Andrew Luck retired, and Lamar Miller tore something in practice or in the preseason. He was out for the year.
Yeah.
That's why you don't draft in the beginning of August. You got to wait till it's closer to the season.
Yeah, I know we did an early draft before, and if anybody's ever watched our show before, you know that I preached Tim Patrick with the Broncos was a great guy. He was a great option.
Yikes.
Every time I talk about that, I would draft him and then tear his ACL. I was the reason that Tim Patrick never panned out with the Broncos. I will take full blame on that every time.
You are single-handedly responsible for the delay of his career.
Yeah, he's doing great with the Detroit Lions. So.
Don't you ever draft
Tim,
him
we'd
again.
like you to have you on to discuss that.
If you want to yell at Kelcey, you're more than welcome to.
I already look like a villain, Tim. Just at this point, make me feel like a bigger villain. That's fine. Maybe send me a signed Utah Utes jersey. That's cool too.
Ooh,
I'm fine
that's a
with
good
that.
pull.
Yeah, I grew up as a Utes fan. What can I say? All right, guys, we talked about bad. What about the flip side? What are the best victories? I'll be honest, I don't have any. So I have the shaft when it comes to drafts here. I usually pick somebody up, and that's where I get better. But I don't have any good victories when it comes to a draft still. So reverse order here. Matt, who is your best draft still so far?
So could this be trades? Or
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Chris Carson's rookie year, he was having a phenomenal year, I believe. I needed a receiver very badly. This was also the year Keenan Allen was breaking out in the NFL with the Chargers. I traded Chris Carson straight up for Keenan Allen. And Chris Carson, the very next game, maybe a couple of days after the trade cleared, broke his leg. He was out for the rest of the year. And Keenan Allen went and had a career year with that first couple of years in the Chargers, and I wound up winning the championship off of that trade.
Wow.
Solely. So that was probably my best draft steal in the sense of making a trade for a player that eventually just broke his leg, and it worked out for me.
That's a good one. That's honestly a really good pull. I mean, Chris Carson, most people forget, he was actually a great fantasy option when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And Keenan Allen was kind of an unsung kind of dream for a lot of players, like a lot of fantasy players like yourself. So that's a great pull. Jared, what about you? What's your biggest victory that you can think of?
Well, I have like a couple of vague ones, but there's one. It's actually my first year of fantasy. So I won the damn title. I was, like I said earlier in the intro, that I was on vacation, and my ferry time to get off island got mixed. There was no Wi-Fi, so I missed my first pick. With the 7th pick, I took Chris Johnson, the CJ2K year. My second pick was, I believe, LaShawn McCoy, and my third pick was Deshaun Jackson, and my fourth was McNabb. I steamrolled everyone that year.
So you hit the over on the Eagle players.
Yeah, and it was totally unintentional for once. That was the best part. CJ2K basically carried my team the entire season, and I accidentally had a loaded bench. So I think I lost one game that entire year because my auto draft was Matthew Berry level genius, and I didn't even touch it until week 4 before I actually made a trade.
That's impressive. By the way, I think the producer here needs to put a bottom line up here that tells the story about why we have Jared's over/under for Eagles. But before we go any further,
passionate Eagles fan. It's okay to understand. I understand that.
I am genuinely curious, and maybe this could be a question later on. But I just want to poke this one and let you think about it for a second.
Okay.
Do you remember the first Eagle you drafted on your fantasy football team?
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy.
Was that your first ever Eagle?
Yeah, 2009.
Wow. Okay.
He
We'll
was
come
a
back
rookie.
to everybody else.
He was a rookie.
I'm curious about that because I want to know everybody's coming back. But Vince, before I go any further, obviously I can go down that rabbit hole and we could be here for hours. What was your biggest win in the draft?
CJ Stroud, 2 years ago's rookie year. I got him as a second quarterback.
That's a good one.
And I don't remember who my first quarterback was, but he went down. It may have been Rodgers. Was that the year Rodgers tore his Achilles?
Yeah, first game
2023.
I may have had Rodgers and as his keeper league, and I got Stroud in it, and Stroud had phenomenal season, his rookie year, and obviously Rodgers has never come back to that level again. So that was a pretty big win for me because I got him late. I don't remember why it was so late and how late it was, but it wasn't early in the draft, and so to get him was a big win for me.
Okay. Wow.
I still have him. It's keeper league, so still got him.
That's a heck of a deal too.
Yeah.
Especially in a keeper league. That's not a bad pick.
Well, because you go with Aaron Rodgers that I had for 8 seasons or something like that, and it was great, and then he falls off, and now I got C.J. Stroud, and hopefully he'll pick things back up again this year.
He will.
I like it. Yeah. He regressed much last year, right? That's the thing everybody
Right.
needs to remember. It's not that he regressed. He just kind of stayed static.
Yeah.
Which you don't normally see. You normally do see a regression, a true regression.
I mean,
So-
also his offensive line was awful.
Oh, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of bad things about
And
Houston.
injuries in the receiving core.
Yep.
It was overall.
chaos too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vince, what was as a Packer fan, do you remember the very first Packer?
The
you ever
one I
drafted?
remember, it probably wasn't the first, but the one I remember was Mark Shimura,
Ooh.
tight end.
Wow. I need everybody to go back in the annals of history and see if you remember who that is.
What year was that? 1905.
That would have been probably 96, 97, somewhere in that range.
Post Super Bowl Favre teams. Okay.
He was
this would have
there
been post Sterling Sharp.
post Sterling Sharp.
Wasn't Sterling Sharp a receiver though?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Shimura was there in the. Was he there in the Favre Super Bowl game? He may
he was
have
a backup.
been. Because, no, it was Bubba Franks and.
Yeah.
That's oh my lord! Now I'm going back to my childhood right now.
But yeah, this was pre legal problems for Shimura, all that good stuff. So
That's another story I'd love to hear
Yeah.
at some point.
That's right. We run across that all the time in fantasy football. We just move on.
Right.
We just move on.
There you go.
DJ, biggest win all time draft wise for you, or maybe like Matt did, a post draft trade.
We're going to go 2021 because that year we scored Josh Allen, highest scoring quarterback. Jonathan Taylor, highest scoring running back. Cooper Kupp, highest scoring receiver. Mark Andrews, highest scoring tight end.
Dang.
Plus throw in Nick Chubb and Tyler Lockett as the other guys to fill out the roster.
were you in a 4-man league?
No, it was a 10-person league. We had the 8th pick.
Gracious.
Yeah, I remember that.
Jonathan Taylor was like a second-round pick then because he wasn't even the starter yet. Cooper Kupp, it was his first year with Stafford. No one knew who Cooper Kupp was unless they saw FCS football.
Have you guys ever watched a high school team play a pro team? Like, have you ever imagined what that would look like? That was
Bishop
every
Sycamore.
week.
That's what I
Anybody? That was every week. Anybody going up against DJ in that league. I remember it clearly. I thought I had a good team. I was second for most of the season. I got washed. It wasn't even close every matchup.
Did you lose? Like that's my question. Did you lose at all?
Started the season 1-2 because JT was a little bit slow out of the gate. Actually,
Okay.
And then after that, ran the table.
Just smoked everybody.
Once JT started
Everybody.
JTing, it was over. And once Josh Allen got going too.
Yeah, 2020 and JT was just unreal.
Not to mention Tyler Lockett would give you 30 any given moment. He'd give you 7 sometimes, but he'd give you 30 real quick.
Ultimate coin flip receiver.
The best ball player you could think of.
That's crazy. DJ, first Colt you ever took?
Probably Peyton Manning. It's a hard time thinking of somebody else at this point in the mid 2000s. Maybe Marvin Harrison, but
Edge.
Yeah.
I think it was Peyton Manning. I think usually Edge was gone by that point too.
Yeah.
And I was I got more into it in the later part of the 2000s after he was a Cardinal. So
Yes. So in the Hall of Fame, I played for Seattle first season.
Yeah. Matt, I come back to you for that.
2010, I drafted Santonio Holmes.
That was your very first jet.
The very first shit I ever drafted. That was the same draft. I think I took the defense as well, which was a great pick. It was a great defense that year, but Santonio Holmes was first when I was selecting him.
I like that. That's a good call, too. I do remember my first Cowboy, as I was a Cowboys fan at the time. Well, I'm now a free agent, but we'll see about how long that lasts. But I do remember the first Cowboy was actually Quincy Carter.
Wow.
So that was the very first year I ever played. I had the greatest hopes for Quincy Carter. He was the guy I wanted to do the most.
this is the start of your Cowboys fan origin story.
Look, just remember, I became a Cowboys fan post Super Bowl victories, meaning I've only known losing
And pain.
and pain.
This is a lot of.
This is why I'm now a free agent NFL fan. This is why I'm the villain.
What year was that with Quincy Carter? Because I remember 04, him and Testaverde were still duking it out for the starting job.
I want to say it was 03, 04.
Okay.
I think it was the year before Testaverde.
Okay, so he's 03 then, because 04, I remember like it was yesterday. Because I remember Testaverde, because I remember watching like the old Miami ESPN Classic videos with him still playing quarterback for Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. No, I don't miss those days. I don't miss any of those Cowboys days anymore.
If Carter could have just not thrown interceptions.
How many quarterbacks can we say?
But no, seriously though, 10 wins.
Yeah.
He had 17 touchdowns. That needed to be more back then. That was still pretty good. 3,300
Fantastic.
yards. Like, it was just simply the interceptions. 57.8% completion percentage. Yeah, but he threw 17 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
Yeah, that
Yeah. And, he's also the guy that came a generation early. Like,
Yeah.
he's one of those guys. I
Yeah.
feel like he was a generation too soon. Same with Aaron Brooks from the Saints.
Yeah.
Those two guys are.
in Atlanta.
I mean, Mike set the standard.
Aaron
Yeah, I know,
Brooks
but you know, I mean,
was drafted by Green Bay, sat behind Favre, traded to New Orleans, as was many other quarterbacks back then. Yeah, he was good. It was just that, you're right, generation too early.
Generation too soon. Nobody knew how to coach those guys.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do when the guy was more athletic. Now, Vince, we did want to do this wins and losses for a team for a reason. And there's a story you have about a quarterback who's very similar in the way he played
Yeah.
to anybody we just met, Aaron Brooks, Quincy Carter, anybody of that ilk, Vince Young. You
Yeah.
have a story about Vince Young, and I just want to share this with the fans because I think this is an important story.
Yeah, so this was my most painful fantasy experience. Watching the game, Monday night game, so final game of the week matchup. I'm winning by 0.1 points. Final play of the game, Titans got it in the books, so what does Vince Young do? He takes a knee. How many yards back does he go for the knee? 2. I lose by 0.1 just because of a knee by Vince Young. If he would have just nowadays guys stat hunt and they take the knee forward. They don't even step backwards.
Yep.
But back then, no. 2 yards back, take the knee, I lose by 0.1.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Yes.
Like even just sitting here, I turned my camera off because I feel like the villain so much that I don't want to be seen on camera here.
I mean, I might have another one too that's close to it, but it was an injury that cost me.
Let's say, go ahead. What is the worst one you've ever had?
So y'all remember Keaton Mitchell, running back for the Ravens, right? So before Derrick Henry came in 2023, I'm the defending champion in this league I'm in, and I was decimated at running back all year. I was pulling and picking scraps everywhere, and I was surviving. I got to the playoffs, right? I actually ended up with like the third seed or whatever. I'm playing the defending champs, or no, the new kid in the league. Had the best draft out of anybody, most loaded roster, and I had him on the ropes. All I need was Keaton Mitchell to get 75 yards, maybe an extra catch or two, and I had him beat. Dude busts what would have been a 80-yard touchdown, and I watched his knee bend back like a recurve bow on live TV. And I looked at the film, I looked at the replay. If he didn't catch his knee, he's scoring, and I'm in the championship. And the kid was in the championship, played my buddy, who beat me. I would have rolled him so bad, it probably would have been worse than when I won back when I was like in middle school. I would have been back-to-back champs, and it would have been so much. So Keaton Mitchell, I have a special bond with him now because I watched my fantasy dreams die that season with his knee injury, and I've been pulling for him to recover ever since. Oh, just a hell of a player, too. So, you know.
Yeah, that's one that, I mean, look, he's back in the league now. He's healthy. Maybe we see some Keaton coming back.
So damn fast.
Yeah. DJ, Matt, either of you have anything along the same lines?
Every year I don't win. That's pretty much the story. Is that somebody breaks at the last minute? The amount of times you lose by half a point or something like that. There's too many to count.
That's fair.
I had a first round bye. You'll have to let me know what year this was. It was a couple years ago. I had a first round bye in the playoffs for a money league, and it was the year that maybe towards the end of the season, Jalen Hurts got hurt and he missed a game.
22.
22.
Yeah.
So it was 2022, and I had the best record in my fantasy league. It was a $100 buy-in league. You know, if I won the whole thing, I could have got $1,000. And I had the first round bye, and I lost Jalen Hurts on the bye. So I had the bye. All I had to do was just go right into the second round of the playoffs, and I lost Jalen Hurts on the bye. I had to throw in, I think, Jake Browning. I think that was the year Jake Browning started. But that was like the one year he didn't have that was the one game I think he didn't perform well, whatever the case was. And I lost in the second round after the first round bye because I lost my quarterback. At the same time, I also lost whoever my running back was, whether that was Jonathan Taylor or that might have been Jonathan Taylor. I think that might have been the year he was also banged up a little bit.
Rough.
So I lost both starters, and I lost the second round of the playoffs from that.
That hurts.
That
It
reminds
was actually Kirk Cousins I had to throw in, actually, not Jake Brown. It was Kirk Cousins, and he got me like 10 points.
That reminded me 2 years ago I was in the championship game that actually just kickstarted the idea of one. So I had Dalton Kincaid. I needed him to get 9 points, I think it was. It was his rookie year. There's a touchdown in that Bills game because it's when they played the Dolphins. They win, they get the second seed. There's a touchdown. I jump with joy. It was Dawson Knox, though, because it was 88 instead of 86, and I already had Dalton Kincaid had got me the 6 points. I just needed one more point. I was jumping with joy, wrong tight end with the wrong number, and then that was just the end of the game. Then the Bills just killed the clock the rest of the way.
That's rough. I honestly, I feel a little bad for you guys, but you've all beat me in every single fantasy league we have, so I'm going back to being a villain.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I'm just,
back in the mirror on that one, Bear Pal. So.
yeah. No, I do have so for me, the one that stands out the most, though, honestly, was Rob Baronis. Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
Steel leg Rob Baronis, 7
For the
field
Titans,
goals.
yeah.
Yeah, he set the record, 7 field goals in one game against me. I was demolishing the guy I was playing. Absolutely just dog walking him. And Rob Barones puts up plus 50 points in a game.
Yeah.
And from that day, I have always stood by kickers are people too. We need more kickers in the league, not less, because don't let that happen to you.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's got a story like me against Alvin Kamara on Christmas 2 years ago when he like dropped like 7 touchdowns, and like, you know, everyone's got that story where they're just getting smoked by some guy going ballistic for 1 week and then they're awful the next.
Yeah, it's crazy. It happens all the time.
Well, this is why it's an imperfect science. As you, as the most experienced player here, you can say this to better than anybody. There's no real way to make it. When we talk to our boys over Roto AI, they're like, we talk about film versus stats. There's no perfect way to look at fantasy football. You're basically playing Russian roulette with, hey, this guy might be the best guy on paper and he may have had the best matchups, but he also could have a coach who just hates his attitude
Arthur
and
Smith.
pulls winner right there, Bijan Robinson. Like there's the winner right there.
Oh, he has a headache. Let's give him 1 carry for 3 yards and run him into Vita Vea.
I actually won because of that, so Arthur Smith is my hero that week. But
Cut his mic.
Yeah. Dude, Arthur Smith single-handedly feels like he's ruined Kyle Pitts so far for fantasy owners.
Kyle
ruined
Pitts
it so
gets
bad he
traded, he becomes an All-Pro tight end within 2 years. I will put money on that right now.
Hey, if this is the weird thing about preseason, right? We talk about it every preseason when we go into drafts.
Yeah.
Every player is the biggest, fastest, strongest they have ever seen. They look the absolute best of their career. Kyle Pitts legitimately looks the best he's ever looked in his career, which is not saying much because he's been blocking most of his career.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is one that you look at we all have these weird stories. We all have the weird, unique aspects. We'll talk about the coaches in a later episode. Obviously, we're going to do a few more pieces here from the Fantasy Football Expo. It's one of those things. Like we got a lot of content. We get here for all weekend. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. Maybe we'll give you some tips on some of the styles of fantasy football to look out for from some of the draft styles, some of our favorites, and some of the unique rule sets we've come across, as well as how do coaches play into your draft strategy. Yeah, that's right, coaches. We're talking about coaches in the preseason. Go figure. But guys, I appreciate it as always for you guys tuning in. We'll be back for more. Don't worry. There are going to be more episodes popped up here in no time, really. Not in the grand world of the internet. So we'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for tuning in to Belly Up Sports. Stay tuned to all our social medias for more from the Fantasy Football Expo. Peace.